Come on, Soda Pop, let's go.
Bruce Daniels from Sioux Falls. First thing I want to do is publicly thank Heather Hitherdahl, the mayor's assistant, for granting me media status yesterday. It's been a long, hard fight to get it, and I finally have it, so I will be asking more questions during city council meetings and at city press conferences, and my camera will be there. And the other reason I'm here today, and the reason I was there yesterday, was at yesterday's media event was the same reason I go to all these meetings with my camera. And it's to document the process. Because there's a lot of us in Sioux Falls who never get a chance to go to these meetings and to watch it and participate. And so the first time we get to go to one of these meetings is the time we have some kind of a problem. And so I've decided to take my camera and we post it on YouTube. It's on southdakota.com, just so that everybody can see what it is we're trying to accomplish. And we want to make city government less fearful. And it was a hard time, as many of you know from when I started coming up here, that I was having a tough time trying to express myself and what I was trying to do. And so I'm here tonight to say thank you to Heather for giving me that access that I've been asking for and make sure it happens. And then I also want this city council, in the discussion last week in the working session, which I would really love to have televised so that people can actually see the questions you ask. I've recorded working sessions. I appreciate what you do in them. Sometimes it's a little dry, but sometimes, Michelle, you've actually said some things that were fantastic, and I really enjoyed it. And I love documenting that, just let the public see what we're doing, you know, when we come to these meetings and we can sit and watch. And the other side of it is, I would dearly love to have the Parks Board meeting be the first board that sits in this beautiful building, in this beautiful room, and is recorded so that the rest of the city can see what is being discussed and the millions of dollars that the Parks Board is deciding what to do with is decided at these meetings in unusual places, in unusual times, and we can't ever find them. And I started recording them and I started cutting them out just to be able to document what goes on in these meetings. And I've learned a tremendous amount. And people that have watched the videos have also commented back to me saying that they didn't realize that these boards actually did as much as they did. Last year I did the ethics board. I had a couple of issues with the ethics board. And it's been very stimulating to find out what attorneys actually think of the ethics board and what it does. And if we could put these meetings, start out with the Parks Board and build our way towards the other quasi-judicial boards that the city has, like the ethics board, the zoning board, you know, all of these different boards that actually have to make some kind of judicial finding that then comes to this board, we can see what the process is. And then just put it up on YouTube. There won't be any cost other than the time it takes to transfer it up to YouTube. You don't have to do any fancy graphics or anything, just get it up there. And it would be there. We do a lot of other things. You know, the mayor, you have your learning and listening sessions, and there's all these other things that go up there that are just kind of, I'm sorry, they're kind of fluff pieces. And we want to be able to actually see how the city of Sioux Falls governs. And we have all this fantastic equipment in this room, and it would be wonderful to be able to see how many of these boards could actually use this equipment and be able to save things. And then if the digital space is a problem for the city of Sioux Falls, then let's just get it up on YouTube and they'll host it for us. And thank you very much, and please consider doing these boards and commissions. Thank you.
Bruce, thank you. Folks, anybody else want to speak to the council? Welcome.
Go ahead and go. Okay. Greg Neitzert, Sioux Falls. I want to talk about the upcoming billion rezoning proposal. The proposal is to rezone the entire block except for the dental office, as you know, to C4. That's the most intense commercial zoning that there is, and that's required because there's about 420 parking spaces they're proposing. The right-of-way between the proposal and the single-family homes to the west is a local street, and it's even smaller than a normal one. That's about 54 feet, I think. So let's let that sink in for just a minute. We're looking at putting the most intense commercial use there is 50 feet from single-family homes. We're not even talking about a collector or an arterial street separating the uses. And now that we've vacated Duluth, we're going to push more traffic over to the residential neighborhood. Based on the comprehensive plan, it doesn't mean you can never do it, but it does mean the buffering will have to be extensive and it will have to be extreme. Staff report indicates compatibility rating 2 because of the zoning district to the west and the north. You probably all know this famous local compatibility chart. We have single-family homes next to the most intense commercial, so why a rating of 2 instead of 1? The answer comes down to the methodology of the matrix and the use of concurrent zoning of the single-family homes next to building. The rating is based on the adjacent zoning district, not the existing uses adjacent to it. These single-family homes have a bad luck being zoned RD1, which is a twin home district.
This isn't fair to this gentleman, that we can't hear what he's saying because of the sound. Can we have a resolution until sound is restored? I can't understand what he's saying, I'm sorry.
But
It's just not fair.
I think the council can hear, probably the folks at home can't hear.
Right, and which would be a lot of people from my understanding, and I'm not hearing that well. No offense, but I just want you to have the opportunity to be heard, and I don't believe it's being heard. It's coming and going. I just want to be fair to the public. That's all I'm asking.
Well, it's back now. I can just, if I need to, I'll try to speak up.
If you continue, we appreciate it.
Okay, sure. So, speaking of the zoning, so the residential neighborhood next to it is zoned RD1, which is twin home. Does that remind anybody of something else, like the Twin Eagle neighborhood, for example? So why were they designated RD1 with shaped places? Were any of these property owners asked or notified? That question is rhetorical. What if these were zoned single family, for example, RT1 residential traditional? The rating then would be a 1 instead of a 2. So based on what is really there, we have the worst compatibility rating. So what does the comprehensive plan say about that, about the worst compatibility rating? So if we go to that and we take a look at a 1, it's a high incompatibility. The new zoning district is incompatible with adjacent land uses. In general, the proposed districts with this level of conflict should not be permitted. So maybe we should consider scoring based on what is really there than what the property is zoned. As I stated before, a 45-foot buffer yard would be required, but they can reduce it 50% because of the local right-of-way. And Billion proposes to do a 25-foot buffer yard with a 4-foot berm. To the city's credit, they state because this level of conflict that they recommend requiring an alternative site plan instead, which would require more. Staff recommends 2 conditions on the rezone, 113 parking spaces for employees and an alternative site plan. I want you to consider a few things before this comes to you. If you're even going to consider this, I would add a 3rd condition that no new structures in the newly rezoned area can be built. If that stipulation is not added, there's nothing stopping Billion from adding structures later. In terms of the employee parking stipulation, that hinges on the applicant following the rules and the staff enforcing it, which I'm not entirely convinced about. As far as the alternative site plan, it's a great idea in general, but there's one major problem with the alternative site plan. That is approved by the Planning Commission. There's no appeal, it won't come to you. So it's important in that month between the Planning Commission and the City Council meeting, the 2nd reading, that they get that plan ready. And if they do not have it ready, you need to defer. You need to have the final say on the exact alternative site plan, because if you pass the rezone, it's over. They can do whatever they want with the alternative site plan, and you have vacated that road, so you have a responsibility to protect that neighborhood. So I want you to make sure that you sign off on whatever alternative site plan they come up with. There's no way, I guess, I would do this unless there was an extreme buffer yard, and even that, I don't think I would probably do that. There probably needs to be some sort of transition. We don't have any transition here, and as I said, unfortunately, we have an issue where this neighborhood is zoned RD, so they're being treated essentially as a transition to single family when they are single family. So this neighborhood really ought to be in here asking for a city-initiated rezone to be made single family, and they need to be protected. And the last point I guess I would make is we're running into, I think, an issue where we have to balance and try to figure out how do we deal with a growing city where I understand getting rid of accesses because traffic is getting worse and we have these commercial pockets, but we also have existing residential neighborhoods who have a unique character And we have to determine, how do we balance that? Are we just going to bulldoze these neighborhoods and tell these people that live there, too bad, this is progress? Or are we gonna do something where we're gonna give them some sort of protection? And that's the line you have to try to figure.
Come on, Soda Pop, let's go. Come on, let's go. Come on.